Welcome to Rama Girls High School. Come in and meet my principal and my friends.
Come in. Come take a seat.
Okay, thank you. I understand that you might have had a bit of complications admitting me here at Weimar School.
No, not at all. I think your parents had done a lot of investigation about senior schools, and they knew what they wanted for their daughter Jessica, and you knew what you wanted, and you were able to express that. And so by the time it came to accepting you into the school, I felt I knew you quite well, and we'd had quite a lot of other experience in hearing impairments, so no, it wasn't difficult at all.
How many other students have come to Weinberg with disabilities?
We've had several over the years, from those who can't walk correctly, but in your particular case, in terms of disabilities of hearing, we had one particular child before you who had a cochlear implant. And I think that taught us an immense amount about hearing impairment. And she also had an FM microphone, so we got used to that. And we did quite a bit of research on what it was like to work with hearing impaired learners. So we have over the years had some that are particularly badly impaired and others who are mildly impaired. Jess, you are like any other girl that is at Weinberg. We don't notice that you're different. Yes, in the class, we pick up the microphone and we speak into that. And in a hall situation, when I might have just your grade, I will look for you and I will see whether you need me to wear the microphone. But other than that, you have participated, you've been part of everything. You've put your name down for leadership positions. You have done everything that is expected of any child who's not hearing impaired. So it has been reasonably easy, I would say, to have you in the school.
And then who is teaching Jessica? I won't say that it really involves a lot of extra work, but it does change your style of teaching somehow. I've learned that when I teach Jessica, I stand close to a desk. She's always sitting close to the front. When I speak, I try and pronounce my words very clearly, and I repeat words very often as well, so that she can pick up on what I'm saying, because I know she does a lot of lip reading. I also, if we're going through working books, I would point out where we are in the books. I try and write also as often on the board as possible. And I always encourage her to just ask whenever she doesn't understand anything, and Jessica is quite good with that. If she doesn't understand, she will always come and ask. She does participate.
Miss Richardson, can I please have my earphone?
And I've always found that the classes that she is in, they always seem to just work quite well with it. I think they all benefit by it because it's a lot of repeating work, writing it up on the board, speaking very clearly, and also speaking very loudly. so that everyone can hear exactly what is being said.
The teachers, can you see the side? Most teachers are supposed to wear it like this. They wear it like this. So I'm like, the whole time.
I remember last year we were about to write our physics exam, and then Mr. Bodyside had the YFM over his neck. So then he said, I'm going to Miss Murat next door to confirm about the papers. And then Jessica says, shh guys, I can hear him discussing about the papers. And the whole class kept quiet, and he's like, I can hear. And then when he comes back, the whole class is laughing, and he's like, why are you guys laughing? And then Jessica says, I just heard you discuss about the papers. Like, I think I have to change your paper. And then everyone was laughing, and then just...
Earlier on, Jess and I there was a glass between us, and Jess was standing on the other side. She mouthed me something, and I mouthed back. And I can completely understand it. She completely understands me. And it's just like, yeah, it's like so cool.
I can read a lot of stuff. And it's quite nice because sometimes I go to restaurants and my parents would like add a conversation. So I have to look somewhere else. But then I read other people's conversations. So that should be a good spy.
So cool.
I think it's like they realize their child is deaf, they look at the barrier and they keep their eyes focused on the barrier and they don't think of looking at the possibility or the positive side, I think.
Yeah.
I'm so excited. Alex, are you going on Ambi's camp?
Yes.
Awesome.
Yeah.
In this South Africa, I know that things are improving and it's very, very, very hard for all these children. But I am the lucky one.
You are faithful, God, you are faithful. Every step we are breathing in your grace. Forevermore we'll be breathing out your praise. You are faithful, God, you are faithful. You are faithful, God, you are faithful.
Being African and my identity as an African has always been a debatable topic within my head because with this whole thing of where people would be like, no, but you're not black or you're not this or you're not that. And for a long time, I think that I always used to associate with what was easier, and that was with the Asian heritage that I have, being Indian and so on. And I think, but now in later years that with the whole Mbeki's African, I am an African speech, it's given a lot of our people a lot more comfortability, and it's made this whole notion of being African okay, that I've also started embracing it. And I'm really proud to be African because I realized that this is where mankind started, this is where technology started, this is the richest continent that we have. And I mean, if I listen to our people and the beats and all those kinds of things that come from there, being African comes from within inside. It's not, you know, your skin or the way you dance or this or that, but it's definitely the beat of your heart. And my beat of my heart says, I am an African. For us growing up as a family, we've had three core values: Christianity, which represents, or your God, representing Christianity, education, and then family has also been a very big part of our upbringing and what we've done as well. I think God, maybe my dad can say a bit more about spirituality. Why is it, Dad, that you kind of enforced that religion and kind of like reinforced and reminded us constantly about Christianity especially?
I would say that because I saw that from the word go, that putting my faith in God and trusting God for certain things worked out well for me. And that is why I have, like since the beginning, when you were small, you know, encourage you, like to see that when I trust God, that things happen. And that's why I've tried to make Christianity very practical to you guys by saying, if you do this, then God is definitely going to come through on this. If you believe and if you trust God, He's definitely going to come through on that. And that is, I mean, you girls have experienced that for yourselves also by now, that, you know, what I taught you, the practical Christianity is the thing that works.
Mm-hmm. Education has also been a very big part of my life and of this family.
Your father and I decided together that education was going to be one of the pillars. Obviously, Christianity and then education. That's going to be two of the most important pillars in our family.
And did you ever think that I would end up staying at university this long?
I obviously did not. We did not bargain for that, obviously. You bargained, and you know the deal that we had was that you are going to study, you're going to get your first degree, and off you're going to go, like any normal kid would do. You were supposed to be working already, helping to get Zena through university. Zena's almost finished with her degree, and you are still busy there.
Stellenbosch University, the university that I've spent most of my tertiary education at. I've done 3 degrees here. The interesting thing about Stellenbosch University is that it's a place where my forefathers would not have been able to come and study at. But just 2 generations later, or a few generations later, I now find myself occupying these streets and these spaces. And so have many of my other cousins, and my sister has also joined me over here. Stellenbosch University is the symbol for the intellectual symbol for apartheid in the country. But at the same time, in 21st century South Africa, I find that it's now a place where cultures meet, where people meet who would have never met in the past. The beauty of the town and of the university inspires people to go beyond. This is one of the top research universities in the country, and it has really inspired me to not be a part of the status quo, but to start believing in my talents and my abilities and to go for more. In the past, we would have never been able to come and study at this university. How do you think that it's affected our identity as non-white students to come and study at this institution?
When you look at Stellenbosch history, it's a historically white university, but what's happening now is like there's a lot of people like black, colored, Indian students coming, and we're all bringing what we have and forming a new identity. So it was seen as a certain African identity, but now we're transforming the old identity into something that was never seen at Stellenbosch or seen in South Africa. So slowly, as the university gets more diverse in terms of religion, culture, and all that stuff that goes with diversity, the culture of this university will move from where it is now, from a dominant Afrikaans culture to a more open culture which accommodates, not just accommodates, accept everybody the way they are.
Mm-hmm. How do you think we as young people from this institution and any other institution in South Africa should embrace our African identity?
Embracing it's tricky because every time I try and embrace an identity, you know, you get categorized. And it's the first thing that happens. I applied yesterday for my master's in education, and the first thing that happened was like I filled in my personal details, and it went to your language, your race, you know, like where you come from and stuff like that. And I thought, oh, I don't really want to answer this, but it was compulsory. So I know identity is different, and African identity is the entirety of it, but daily we keep getting boxed, and it's absolutely blowing my mind. I wish that we could just break out of this idea of categorizing people, you know? Why can't it just be in the caliber of the individual, you know? You're a brilliant individual, you know? Never mind the fact that you're female, you know, and you're not white, and you're at Afrikaans University, you know? There's a lot we need to do, but within the structure and the system that we're in, it's hell of a difficult.
And those are the kind of things that are going to hold us back from really achieving our potential.
Definitely. There needs to be more sensitivity towards people's backgrounds and understandings, and it's not there because there's a generation holding on to something that was, you know. It's the same as this university. There's a generation holding to something that was, and someone said the other day, any day now these old professors are going to be gone, and you're going to have the young, like, game changers, and you're painting the buildings red and green and yellow, you know. Everyone's going to be thinking outside the box, you know. No one wants to have a meeting in a boardroom anymore. They want to have it in a coffee shop. They want to go back to the way it was, you know, where things are bright and colorful and you can think creatively and outside of the box. And as long as we're sitting in buildings that look like 1960, 1970, we're going to think like 1960, 1970. And as long as we're sitting with people that were in power then, we're going to think like them because they're going to be leading the conversations. So give it time, but as soon as there's more power given to the youth, you know, and you see it with certain political parties currently, power to youth, it's coming up, you know, and like it's in the ANC, it's in the DA, it's in COPE, but like there's these youth players coming through, you know. They're not necessarily pushing an agenda of what was being pushed in 94 or 2000, you know, of let's get this race above and this race below. It's more agenda of let's improve the country, you know. And like you've moved from buzzwords of like democracy and equity and stuff like and equality to social entrepreneurship and innovation and design, you know. It's like it's not this like sympathy thing like, oh shame, let's help the people that were disadvantaged. It's this idea of like, let's be creative and build a nation, you know. We're at the tip of Africa, you know, we're the root to Africa. Let's go and let's be the best, you know. Brilliant minds, you know. Let's use them and let's really change the future from now. And that's happening. Those things are